If you ask me what my most effective worship ministry decision was over the past few years, I would say, without a doubt, by far, it has been our worship leader retreat. My name is Patrick. I'm the NYC worship leader. I've been leading worship since I was 13, and for the past 20 years, I've been leading worship in all sorts of different ministry contexts in New York City. And today, I'm going to show you how to create a cost-effective, easy to implement retreat for your worship team or worship leaders that is going to produce so much fruit in the long run for your team. Before we get into some of these best practices so that you can implement a successful retreat for your worship leaders or your worship team, please make sure to visit nycworshipleader.com and follow me on all the social stuff where I'm really active. I'm always giving out free tips and resources to help your worship ministry thrive. Okay, let's get into it.
So, as many of you know, I am a worship pastor in New York City, and this week I'm putting on a worship retreat for all my worship leaders at my church. And since I live in New York City, there's just not a ton of space in New York City for us to do something like this. So I'm at my friend's place in the Poconos, Pennsylvania, at their house, and in a few hours, worship leaders are gonna start showing up. It's about 7 or 8 of us, and we are gonna have an awesome time. People often ask me, what are the keys to a successful retreat? Well, here they are.
Number one, inspect your expectations. You might be so obsessed with getting all of your team in the same room that once you get them in there, you don't know what to do. And I've done this a dozen times, trust me. It's important that you inspect your expectations and ask yourself this question. If there's one thing you could get out of this retreat or this event, what is it? Get rid of the fluff and form everything around accomplishing that goal or communicating that need or implementing that vision. Now, of course, we need to be able to, be flexible or pivot if needed. But if you leave that space not communicating that important thing, not implementing that important vision, you might regret the time. And this isn't just for you. Your team is going to ask you, what are we going to do on this retreat anyway? You don't want to give away your surprises, I know, but you definitely want to have an answer beyond, it's going to be fun. I live in New York City, and it takes a ton of work, no brag intended, but it takes a ton of work and vision to help people leverage their time and energy for another meeting. We're all in meetings, we're all in Zooms, right? Leveraging for another one is tough because everything seems harder here. And I'm sure things are tough in your context as well. But for me, for my team, it's harder to travel. It's harder to find margin. My team members want to sacrifice time to be at a meeting that's worth it, but they might need that little extra bit of information to get them there. So I made sure to communicate enough details to my team to help them see that this is going to be a unifying event for them that they did not want to miss. But there's another group of people that need some extra care as you're planning a retreat or an event like this. What do you think it is? Number 2, your family is your first ministry. It's your family. I know we're here to talk about honoring your team and creating successful team environments and things like that. I also know that not everyone watching this video has a family of their own or even plans to have a family of your own. But those of you that have a family, kids, a spouse at home, do not neglect to prepare for them as you prepare to go away with your team. Whenever I go away, whether it's for a weekend or an event, I try to set up some extra things that make the process easier for my wife and kids. I never want to take my amazing wife for granted. Now, let me be clear. My wife doesn't need my help. She's a boss, and she's not bad looking either. I mean, I gotta just throw that out there, right? Smoking hot wife, anybody? However, I never want to be one of those dads that assumes I can do whatever I want simply because ministry must happen and what I do is important. I cannot forget that I have a family that could be affected by my choices. I cannot stress this enough. The same way you want to take care of your team, try and go the extra mile to take care of your family while you're away, even if it's just for a weekend or a day. Trust me, you're gonna thank me later.
Oh, check this out. The person who is allowing us to use their house in PA put that up. And she said that as she was cleaning everything up for us to get here, she said she was just like praying over the whole house. So this is gonna be an awesome couple days.
Number 3, personalize your invites. If you want your team to actually attend, personalize your invites. If your church is like mine, you've had this conversation at some point with your leaders or staff. We announced it. We posted it on Instagram. We put the registration and planning center. We added it to the newsletter. Why didn't anyone attend? We even announced it twice. I knew how important this retreat was, and that's why I personally invited my worship leaders multiple times. I sent texts, I made personal phone calls, and I almost hounded our worship leaders until they were able to commit or told me that it was just not possible to attend. We have this rule on my church staff that goes, the minute you think you've communicated something enough, say it one more time. A personal invite, let me just sum it up for you. A personal invite is going to go so much farther than announcements, than social media posts, than a graphic in a newsletter. Reach out to your team and say, hey, I want you to be there. This is why it's important. A personal invite is going to go a long way and get people coming to your event. Number 4, entrance is everything. When my team walked into the door at this retreat, they weren't met with a, hey, what's up? I had snacks out on the counter. I had drinks ready for everybody. I had music playing over the entertainment system at this house in the Poconos, out in the woods, away from the city. When they walked in, they were like, wow, this is nice. And on the table, I had an individual box for everyone that had a few items inside of it. Number 1, it had a book that's changed my life as a worship leader that I said, hey, you guys have got to read this. I had some snacks in there just so that everybody had something to munch on as soon as they walked in. I also had a t-shirt that said modern day Levites on it, which is a phrase I throw around. The Levites were in charge of guarding and protecting the temple in the early church. They were also responsible for worship and praise happening 24/7 around the clock. So I wanted this retreat that we were on to mark a moment that we were modern day Levites, hosting the presence of God in our church as worship leaders and music directors. So as they walked in, it wasn't just like, all right, hey, throw your stuff down, find a room. It was, hey, listen, here's a gift for you. There's a shirt for you. Here's some snacks for you. I've got drinks ready for you. And don't worry, dinner is on the oven. Entrance is everything.
Okay, what are we doing right now? Got some music playing in the background for when people come in, and I am making gift boxes. Oh yeah, gift boxes. In the gift box is a journal for taking notes for the next couple days, and a book called Exploring Worship by Bob Sorge that I think is essential for every worship ministry leader, participator to dig into. So I'm gonna keep making gift boxes. People should be showing up in the next couple hours.
Number 5, prioritize play. I made sure to let all of our leaders that were attending this retreat know as soon as they walked in that, hey, listen, we're not going to sit and have meetings where I just cast vision and you have to take notes the whole time and you're required to do stuff. Our main goal here is fun. So if you need to go on a walk, go take a walk. If you need to lay down and take a nap, I know your life is busy, lay down and take a nap. Take advantage of this time away from the city and prioritize rest and fun. Don't prioritize productivity. I'm trying to do the whole alliteration thing. Prioritize productive. It's not working. Long story short, prioritize fun. Make sure they know that they're not just there for another meeting. Yes, there will be vision cast. Yes, you will have a meeting of sorts, but also prioritize fun and rest for them. Let them know that they can let their hair down and take a deep breath, because that's what we're here to do.
Every time I shoot one of these videos, someone always comes at me in the comments and goes, man, how does your stuff look so good? Well, today, I'm gonna help you with that. I've developed a free resource for anybody that wants to up their equipment game right now to start looking better and sounding crispier on video. All you have to do is visit this link. It's absolutely free. No matter what kind of content you're creating, this is going to help you create better content, and it's absolutely free from me. Okay, let's get back to the video.
Number 6, I know that we're here to prioritize fun, but there is gonna come a point where you actually want there to be some meat on the bones of your retreat. You want there to be something that they walk away with inspired, encouraged, equipped, whatever it may be. So I would say, instead of trying to pack the time with information, what I decided to do was capitalize on one meeting. This is going to be the time that you sit down to cast vision and introduce new initiatives. You will be tempted to have the entire time be you throwing out all the information that you have wanted your team to hear all at once for the longest time ever, but it makes way more sense to surround your event with fun, to fill it with fun, to fill it with rest, but then have one concentrated time where you have planned what you want to share and you are ready to say, hey, listen, since we're all in the same room, this is the vision I have for us going forward. These are the plans I have for us going forward. Capitalize on one meeting.
Last night was a blast. Right now, all of our music directors and worship leaders have their cheesy t-shirts. I got them on, and you can hear in the background someone's listening to the Bible app because they're all just like spending some time with Jesus to start the day. Then we're gonna get together, start talking through some team stuff. So far, really fun.
Small tip. If there are team members that cannot make the event, have a live stream option for them during the most important part of your time together, or at the very least, record your most important section. So here's what I did. When we all sat down for this one time that I wanted to capitalize on, where I was sharing information and casting vision, I had already let the team members that couldn't attend because new babies were born and someone was, out of town taking care of their mom who was sick, things like that. I said, hey, listen, at this time on this day, I'm going to FaceTime you in. We're going to pray together. We're going to worship together. I'm going to give you guys some updates, and you can just stay where you're at, but you're not going to miss out on the meat of what we have going on. And it was such a special time. And when you gather together to capitalize on this one meeting where you're sharing vision, where you're sharing initiatives, where you're sharing dreams, where you're sharing, new systems and stuff like that, make sure that you start by just asking this question. How are we doing? How can I pray for you? Since we're here, does anybody have anything they want to share? Start with the heart. You're going to get all the stuff, the brain stuff, all the systems and initiatives. You're going to get the hand stuff. Hey, here's what we're here to do. Here's what we have going forward. Vision, mission, things like that. But start with the heart. Capitalize on this one time together, this one meeting, but start with the heart. And guys, be aware of the fact that you're going to be having meals together, which we'll talk about next. You're going to be having walks together, and you're going to be going and playing sports together, or whatever your team is into. And in those spaces, there are naturally going to be things that come up that you also get to get into that are going to help you and your ministry and your team thrive. Number 7. Meals are ministry. I did not let our entire team come near the kitchen. I made every meal. Maybe you don't want to make every meal. You want to cater every meal. Maybe you want to hire a chef to come and make meal. Long story short, make sure it's a time where your team gets to sit down and you take care of the rest. I made sure that my team knew, no, don't come in here. I'm going to prep food. I'm going to get ready for you. It may not be the best meal they've ever had, but they kept saying to me, Patrick, thank you so much. Is there anything we can do? And I said, no, just rest, because meals are ministry. You fill someone's belly, you've also filled their soul. That's not a real quote. I just came up with it. Meals are ministry. Provide all the food you can. Do not require your team to take care of a single thing when it comes to food. Even a small gesture like that, or maybe it may seem like a big gesture to you, depending on how large your team is, but a small gesture like that or a big gesture like that goes a long way to show that you honor your team and you care for them. Last thing, number 8, savor the moment. Don't let your team leave without feeling honored, without feeling encouraged. You want them to walk out of there with something in their heart and something in their mind that says, man, I actually want to be a part of this next retreat. It was worth it. And let me tell you something, your meeting where you just cast a bunch of vision is going to be great, and they're going to like it, and it's going to be important, but it's not going to be the thing that wants them to come back. Leaving feeling honored, feeling encouraged, that's going to be the thing that makes your team want to return next time you say, hey, our next retreat is coming up. And as a matter of fact, like I said, I had them leave with a shirt that said Modern Day Levites. I explained it earlier. But even that little thing, every time they open their drawer or their closet or wherever they see that shirt, if they kept it, just whenever they see that, it reminds them, I remember this time. It kind of marked the moment for us and made them, I know, look forward to the next time we get together. So not only did I give them a little gift before they left, or actually when they arrived in that little gift box, but before we left, the last thing we did is we got around a campfire and we just sang worship tunes. And it was a really sweet time that as we drove away in our cars, people were just like, man, I'm actually really looking forward to the next one. Now, on the way home, what did we do? We went to a suburban restaurant where we all sat around and we're like, oh my gosh, this is nothing like the city. Not in an elitist way, but we were all just sitting around at like a Chili's or a Texas Roadhouse or something going, this is awesome. And guess what I did? I just made sure to pay for that meal. Was it a sacrifice? Sure. But it once again savored the moment to make them go, wow, thanks. I feel really honored. I didn't have to expend my energy this weekend. I didn't have to, open my wallet at all. Everything was provided for me. And man, I can't wait to be a part of the next one.
It's 6 a.m. It's Thursday. It's Sunday. 6 a.m. on Sunday. I don't even know you guys, yeah, so I'm here at church. I'm here early every Sunday. Our retreat ended last night. Led some worship, sang around the campfire a little bit, and then went to Texas Roadhouse, which apparently right outside of New York, a Texas Roadhouse on a Saturday night has a 40-minute wait. Anyway, ate way too much fried food. Did you know that Texas Roadhouse has the cactus blossom, and Outback Steakhouse has the bloomin' onion, and Chili's has the awesome blossom? I'm just saying there's a lot of fried onions out there. So I'm gonna keep setting the stage, listening to my podcast, just doing the dang thing. Stick with me.
Earlier, I was being serious when I said, if you asked me, what's your most important ministry decision you've made for your worship team in the past couple years? It's this worship retreat. Our worship leaders, our music directors came together. It was incredible. And this is something you can do as well. If you are spending all your time trying to get systems in place and trying to get things done, don't get me wrong, all of that is important. But if you're not taking the time to honor your team, to gather them together and simply say, hey, listen, what you do is important, what you do matters, and I'm so thankful for you. Man, take the time to do that in this next year. It is going to be so fruitful for your ministry, whether it's you and a couple of other people or a team of hundreds of worship leaders and music directors and worship team members, whatever it may be. Honor your team. It's going to pay massive dividends. And also, we should honor each other. As a matter of fact, there's a scripture that says, seek to outdo one another in honor. Man, if we can focus on that for the next season of ministry, how much growth will we see? How much fruit will we see? And how many people will actually want to be a part of our team or stay a part of our team? Worship leader, you are important. What you do matters. And if you want to grow in your worship leading journey, it's not just about this video. You're probably going to want to watch this one as well.